Chart titles are important, but for whatever the reason might be, you do encounter charts, for example, the green chart to the right here that doesn't have a title on it. Perhaps it did in the past. You might have mistakenly gotten rid of it. Many times when you create a chart using quick methods, you get a temporary chart title. You can easily type over it and make it be what you want it to be. But in this movie, I want to show you different ways to consider adding titles. This worksheet needs a title. One approach can be select the chart, go to the Design tab, leftmost button, Add Chart Element. We've got Axis Titles, Chart Titles right here. And as I slide over the option that says Above Chart, look at the chart. We see how a title could be there. I'll slide over Centered Overlay for contrast. Slight difference. This will overlap the horizontal grid lines there, moving back up there. So this is certainly a decent starting point. Almost in the same vein, if the chart is selected, off to the right you see the plus. We could begin there, start with Chart Title. And as we slide over this, we see what's happening. There's an arrow to the right. We could click that, and we see some choices just like we saw before. So these are almost identical, just a different way to get started. And nothing wrong with that. And for example, I want it above chart. I'll just click here and click that panel and start typing. And I might type what I'm seeing off to the left somewhere, or maybe I'll just type in, for example, Sales Expense Report, or anything else I want, and get rid of the other text that's out there, and also the text at the beginning too. So nothing difficult about that. We can easily get to that capability. Another option, I'm going to press Control-Z a few times to take out the title. The chart is selected. On the Design tab, we go to Quick Layout. And as we slide over some of the choices here, you quickly get used to the display. Most of these do provide a title. The first three do, the fourth one doesn't. The others tend to, except for this one here and the one down there. But we can see by the image the gray bar across the top as we slide over these. This too provides a chart title. And notice also some of these provide a chart title for the axis down the left-hand side. For example, this one. When I use column charts, I typically use option number 9 when I use the layouts, because this provides a title, as you can see on the green chart, title on top, over on the left-hand side, and on the bottom. Now, sometimes I don't want the one on the bottom, but nevertheless, I like this layout. What I would probably do then, click here, type in the entry, click here, type in the entry, click here, and if I don't need anything here, I'll simply press delete, and I don't need a title there. So these are easily added at any time. And don't overlook that quick layout button. It doesn't have the colors that a lot of other features have. It doesn't immediately attract you to it, but it's got some great options here for filling in some of the details on a chart when you need to get to different features. And in this example here, of course, we're trying to get to titles. You can also format the title box here. I'm going to click here, and I will change the title this time simply by, this time I'll highlight the text, press delete, and type in Home Division Sales. And we can format that too. If it's selected, in other words, we click the border here, we can go to the Format tab and maybe waste too much time here, but as we try this choice, that choice, you can begin to see what's happening in the background. We've got all those capabilities here for providing formatting that way too. And if that were not enough, we've got some other effects here we can get to, shape effects with shadows and glow and so on. So we can easily add these titles. We can easily add additional features to them. And much of the time, it's just a question of which one's going to look better. So we've seen different ways here to add chart titles. Remember, we can go to Add Chart Element. We can click the plus button to the right of a chart, consider adding a chart that way. And we can also use that Quick Layout button found on the Home tab that allows us, through most of these choices, not only to pick main chart titles, but also axis titles. If we only wanted to add axis titles, we could click the plus button here and consider axis titles going down this path. Now, primary horizontal, primary vertical, got some options there and more options for adding axis titles and formatting them as well, this path too. I think the chart titles themselves are more important, but nevertheless, we do need to add titles at different times, different techniques for doing that. Again, I think it's going to be quickest if you use the Quick Layout button, but remember, Add Chart Element and the plus button to the right.